Agada.
Mbijan aganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Korsa. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sasa ndo. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Ah,
mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Ah, jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Ha. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Ha. Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw jannam number 1 di nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma nin domorol din fana beteata Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
ha wo mo yo diat ha
apelenta
baraka ni na lafta nyelen kendol e bina
yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba
yalo ndel ciosano lo
baraka.
Him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Balu?
Balu? What is Balu?
Balu is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Balu works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluo, better than sending money.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia, Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high-quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
Gambia Social Registry Household Data Collection Exercise. The government of the Gambia, with support from World Bank, is developing a social registry as part of its move towards an integrated social protection system in the country. Gambia Social Registry will serve as a single entry point for the various social protection programs in the Gambia and will be hosted by the National Social Protection Secretariat at the Office of the Vice President. The social registry shall comprise households' demographic and socio-economic data. This information will guide future social protection program interventions in the Gambia and facilitate rapid identification of beneficiaries for programs. It will have the capability to be linked to other databases when these databases become automated. The enumeration teams from Gambia Bureau of Statistics, GBOS, will visit, interview and register every household in your community, so don't be left out. However, inclusion in the registry does not automatically qualify one for a particular social program. Social Registry has taken consideration of the key principles for personal data protection. Therefore, your data shall be confidential and protected. In view of this, we call on all and sundry to register their households with enumerators from GBOS. This message is brought to you by the Department of Information Services under the Ministry of Information.
Hello and welcome to the Brunch on Kerfatu Live. I am Lavin Cham and this is our weekly look at current affairs. This week, on Tuesday, the 12th September, 2 members of the Gambia police force were shot dead, a third one seriously injured in an attack that the police said they have found a suspect. We will discuss that and analyze what is possible, what can really be shared. The National Assembly Committee responsible for government finance, acronymed FPAC, had passed a resolution giving an ultimatum to certain institutions and individuals to cough off in some cases millions or hundreds of millions of dollars or face prosecution. We will discuss this unprecedented move by our National Assembly with my panelists here in the studio. And they are journalist Yusuf Taylor of Gainago, otherwise called Flex Dan, and activist Sait Matty. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
On Tuesday, 2 members of the Gambia police force been shot dead in an unprecedented attack on the law enforcement agencies. I mean, the matter is still very much the hottest topic in the country. Yesterday, the police came out to give the first time an update on their investigations. Now, they didn't give much information though, but they told us that they believed they have the right suspect, one Usainu Bojang of Brufut village, who is supposed to have been arrested in Jululu, that's in Casamas, and is now helping police in their investigations. They also said 6 other people have been arrested, and they said the suspect has told them that he's a member of the Casamas rebel group. But the police said they have not found the murder weapon yet, and they are not at liberty to disclose much information. But so far, what has been gathered has also generated a lot of debate. And family members, of course, of the suspect also have been having their say. All these topics we are going to delve into, but like I said, of course, we can only talk as much as it is possible. Of course, we will going to respect the police directives that we shouldn't say more than is legally allowed or perhaps safe for the process of the investigation. So, Flex and Sait Matty, let me begin perhaps saying my own perspective of the whole scenario. I believe this is a very serious incident. I mean, where you have people or person shooting at law enforcement, that's obviously an attack on the state. A declaration of war, I sometimes call it. And at this stage, of course, I think what is really imperative, especially on the side of the security, is to try as much as possible to get to the bottom of this serious incident. And I hope that they will employ all the facilities and all the good analysis they could get to ensure that they really have the man or men or group of people who acted in this barbaric manner against the state, against the Gambian people. So I hope that whatever information they have, because they must have got information that they can share, is the right direction, and the suspect they have got is the right suspect, according to them, which the assurance they have given that, because the tendency is that, or the danger is that if, God forbid, they are wrong in their assumptions, that means a killer is on the loose with a motive against the state. So that means the danger and the problem is not yet solved. So, and if you look at the general public's reaction, of course, a lot of people believe what the police are saying. What is not disputable is that somebody killed 2 policemen with a motive. It is now the job of the police and our security to find out exactly who did this, for what purpose, and so. And in so doing, They owe it to the state and even to themselves.
Yeah.
Because obviously somebody who shoots junior policemen, he can also shoot senior policemen. You don't know the motive. So we hope that the investigation will go and get the right person who did this and for what purpose, so that everybody can feel safe. So what they have given have really, like I said, have generated a lot of interpretations. There are people who believe them, there are others who don't believe them. But then we have to give the police the benefit of the doubt, because they are on top of information that might not be available to us. So for the moment, we go what the police say, despite our own analysis and misgivings or doubts. We still have no way, no other thing but to really give the police the benefit of the doubt until we have come. But gentlemen, you have also been following the whole thing. What has been your
I mean, I think I want to start by extending my condolences to the family of the the two police officers, brave officers for that matter, that could have picked any other job. They could have been like me. Me, I employ myself as a talkative. They could have done those things. They could have done anything else, but they decided to join the police to protect us. I mean, on that night I was in my bed, I was sleeping, I didn't know anything, but these guys were out working and doing what they wanted to do for my own safety, for everybody else's safety. And I think so we need to share our condolences, especially to the families, and even for the speedy recovery of Nancy, because I think this is the and that we hope that the government will take all measures to support her recovery, because for me, this is criminality. We don't know what happened and all those different stuff, but when things like this happen, the government need to take up, to own it up, in a sense that this is a threat against the state, and we are ready and willing to defend the state at all costs, and because a state must be defended at all costs, and so whether this person is inside, outside, for me, I've not been following on anything. Most of the things that I've been following is what is coming from the police. I am not an investigator, I am a commentator. I cannot talk about somebody else's job. I want to trust that the police will do the right job. They will come up with it, because at the end of the day, it is personal to them in this sense. It is personal because it is it is member of the one of them. Two of them, and then you have another. So people must allow them to do the work. And one of the things that I also noticed, and I was saying it the other 2 days ago, I presented a paper at MDI on these trends of coup, but I made a point that, I mean, even within this incident, where Gambians supposed to be united, where Gambians need to speak with one voice, before we know it, even people have started politicizing, pushing people here and there. We don't need that. And then the other problem you see with this other issue, why also this action is happening, where for me, I see the government spokesperson have no business talking about security issues. That's not his job. He's a government spokesperson. There is a security, there is Office of National Security. So government must also know how to communicate. From 2017, we've been talking about communication. Because what if you don't do it right, you create confusion. When you create confusion, people will not know what happened. Instead of helping people to relax, people will become more agitated, will become more vexed. And at the end of the day, everybody get confused and nothing works. So the police is responsible. Let us allow the police to do the work, and they are working with other security institutions, because during the press I saw the Office of National Security, I saw others that are there. Our people are interested in bringing this to justice, and I hope that the population should minimize the politics and then start focusing on how do we help the police to get the one that is responsible, or the group that is responsible for this heinous crime. For me, I think that's what we should be doing.
Well, just before I go to flex, like I've been saying, I mean, the bold stops of the police. You said this is in fact personal to them. Of course, I mean, they are the ones who came on the direct attack, and as long as the solution is, I mean, the crime is not resolved or solved, there's still a threat that
Yes,
the government spokesman said if they had succeeded, 14 or a dozen other PIU officers.
That's very irresponsible. I mean, we don't even know, like, as if he knows everything that has happened.
We'll talk about the issue of the government spokesman later.
No, for me, like, those are the things that I say. When you say they are what we call national crisis. This is a national crisis.
Yeah.
And when the police uniform doesn't belong to anybody.
It's just the state.
And you can make statement that people will try to interpret differently.
Yeah.
That's why people also need to know when things happen, where they should go to, where they get the right information, and the government or the system that is in place must ensure that the ones that are supposed to talk to the public must be the ones to talk to the public.
Exactly.
Yeah, whether they get to give us all the information we want, but of course, let them be the one talking, and where we have it can continue that way. But for me, I think we all need to come together on this issue. This should bring us together as Gambia.
Absolutely. And this
should bring us together, but not the divisions and the misinformation.
Indeed. Tello, yes. What's your take on this?
Yes, thank you. First of all, just to appreciate being on the platform here with you, our veteran journalist, Standard, also Kerfatu, and my brother, my consultant, I usually call him. Yeah, and also greetings to your viewers who are tuning in. Yes, it's my take about this unfortunate, shocking incident. It's very shocking to lose the life of PC Pate Jallo and PC Sang J. Gomez. While they were serving us, as Sait said, we were resting, relaxing late in the evening, got to find out that even WPC Ansi Jawo is, facing serious medical situation because of the shooting. May she have full recovery, and prayers for those who have lost their lives. It's unfortunate, it's very shocking. I think at the same night of seeing this information coming out, I'll pick up from where my colleague was finishing. We saw a lot of, speculation online as to whether the person was affiliated to party UDP specifically. And it's unfortunate that we are turning into a very polarized society. And I think that that's a sign of us getting very polarized, because normally, in Gambia, when tragedy happens, you take a step back and you put all of these other things aside, and you just look forward to how can you deal with the situation at hand. So I think that really puts a very bad spin on the whole issue. Instead of looking at it about this is a tragedy, this is a national tragedy. It turned out to be utterances from the government spokesperson.
Where do you think the tendency to politicize it came from? Because at first the police actually didn't say anything much, that there has been a shooting. But then, of course, when the government spokesman had that interview on radio, I think that's where, as Sait said, that's where all these insinuations came from.
Yes, I think that did not help the issue, but I have been following this thing slightly, and from what I have observed is that this thing is a remnant of our security sector reform that is a sign of where we are with regards to security sector reforms. Why do I say so? If you look of just last week, the whole issue of the governor of Brikama Area Council, Yankuba Dabo court case.
Chairman.
Yes, chairperson. So that was also a test for the security. And their handling of the people there, the protesters, had left a lot to, of bad taste. And actually things, were going in the wrong direction. And from that end, so that was just 4 days before this incident. And unfortunately, I have to say this, I saw some people putting up, specifically Honorable Madi Sise. There's a screenshot of his calling for, I don't know whether he was the one who wrote it or whether he was sharing another opinion.
He claimed he was sharing.
He was sharing something.
Yeah.
But that was a very...
well, the deputy presidential advisor for youth was
he seized on that.
Yeah.
Yes. So
he was been irresponsible.
So
and even inciting people against the police.
So, but I think that's going a little bit too far.
And there are orders. We learned that some people have been invited.
Yes,
and
for
they've been
questioning.
invited for questioning.
Yes.
And it has to do with allegedly what they commented on Facebook.
So this thing happened like just around 4 days before. So you see, it's very easy for people to start drawing comparisons.
And
yeah?
the coincidence,
and start
the
connecting.
coincidence have.
Thank you.
Well, people might say this cannot be coincidence.
Yeah,
so whatever happened, it is only logical that anybody will definitely look at these things as not related, but at least
I think people cannot do that. Why I say so?
Yeah.
If for example, there was a gentleman that was in that picture that was shared by the Honorable Madi Sise, and there was some pretty much recommendation for people to attack this gentleman. Had that gentleman, which is a PIU officer, been attacked, obviously, then something questions have to be, you can draw direct comparison.
That man may not be, but it's PIU, it's police.
Yes.
So, and police got killed.
Yes.
Obviously, any man would say, well, once you incited somebody against a policeman, and a policeman get killed, whether it's the one or not, logically, somebody would say, well, the coincidence should be looked into. Naturally, I expect.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think sometimes, maybe it's because I'm too boring. Maybe because sometimes for me, I compartmentalize things. Like, this is your job. This is this person's job. This is that. So I don't bore myself in other people's job too much, unless it kind of affect in a way that we have to collaborate and cooperate in that way. But I also think that there's and I noticed this in Parliament in terms of the way our leaders talk. People, sometimes it's very confrontational.
I said maturity. Because,
of course,
it has to do with maturity.
I'm a young person,
most
so
of
I cannot say
most
more.
of the time, people carry this authority, but the manner they concocted themselves
it's like me.
It's disappointing.
Like,
it's like ordinary people. It's disappointing people, and that's very common. It starts with everybody. No, because once you hold an office, what you say and what you do as the holder of that office is very important.
Let me see. That's why when they talk about this,
the presidential advisor was telling Madi, she said, that you are a National Assembly member. You should be the last person to be so desperate or to be sharing, because Madi said he shared only, something definitely perhaps is not that much palatable, to even...
He should not have been sharing.
He should not have been sharing in the first place.
Clearly.
Okay, I think that he has a point there.
Yes.
Okay, but it's not only Madi. There are other people who's with respected status. They will talk or act in a manner that is not compatible with the kind of office they hold. That's a common thing in our society.
So, but this is where I want to come in. Now, even if such an attack was to happen, and such an individual was carrying party A, party B, or whatever, that does not mean that that is the party that is instigating that violence.
Yeah, but it's coincidence. Yeah, that's
yes,
I'm talking about you.
So this is where
coincidence.
But the problem I have is that the problem which we have, even not is that a problem I have, it's a problem which we have as a country, is that people are using that to highlight that this is a violence coming from, which is why you see that the UDP even wrote a statement.
That's why we need the police.
Yes.
Because you see, the police should be above
all of them. The police is not for here for any political party.
The police should be
police
above
is here for the
political
state, and the state must be that.
So that's why we rely on the police to separate their job from political sentiments. Because if you do that, you will lose the bigger picture. Like what we are saying now. If they look and allow themselves to be swayed by politics and politicians, they will miss the bigger picture. The man or the group of people who actually committed this crime. If you don't get the right people, you have not solved the danger.
Exactly.
It's still there. So don't focus on what somebody is insinuating until you lose direction.
So can I ask you, is that what do you carry from yesterday's alleged, I believe, Mamadou Sabali and Sonko Gambia.
Well, what I
They are
understand, the
currently-
police just said they have been questioned. They have been invited for
Are
question.
they still in detention?
They are. As far as up to yesterday, they were.
Up to yesterday?
Yeah. The police said they have been questioned. They've been asked to go and be questioned. They said, because they spoke to some media which published that they were being questioned. Sonko was being questioned about a report filing by two police or a policeman about what he's posted. And they said Sabari also is being investigated or is being invited to clarify on a posting. So it has to do with the postings we are talking about.
Yes.
Like people, they're making expressions that
against the
police.
But that is not necessarily to, go and attack the police.
No,
I think the police, I think they may be even looking into a dead end, in my view, in some of these
I hear what you are saying. That's what I say.
And keeping people detained
over
the weekend, that style of arrest you on Friday or bring you in for questioning on Friday, and nobody sees you until on Monday.
What I'm trying to say is that the police should avoid, being directed by political sentiments in the whole thing. That is the only solution to the problem. Because if otherwise they will be misdirected and the solution will not be found and the threat remains. So that is people's concern.
Exactly.
Forget about these political things. I mean, that is the nature of people. But as a professional body in the Gambia, they are the last hope for the whole of the people in right standing in the community.
Lamin.
And as he said, it's a threat against they themselves too. So they must show professionalism, get down to the bottom of dates and solve the problem so that we know who are the gangsters who are going out shooting people. And they might be there targeting somebody else tomorrow.
Lamin, security is not politics.
Exactly.
Security is security.
Exactly.
And security is everyone's business, is everything that we need. When I was in junior school, me and one friend, now he's a military somewhere, we used to argue about, whether people are the police. And I think at one point here, we even have that conversation, whether people are the police or police are the people or whatever. So we had that kind of, argument back in junior school. His argument was that, we are the people. I say, no, we are not the people. So for me, I was on the other side. But every day you grow up, you grow older, you become responsible. You start understanding all these different, elements and why they should function and why they should function within society. So for me, like you, I agree entirely that the police and professionalism must guide their work. And for me, that's why I said I'm not listening to anybody. I don't listen to anybody. This is a police case. It's a criminal issue. Police are responsible for that. I have to listen to the police. The media writes and expand what the police say. I read from that. But because somebody posts something on social media, and he was saying something that was also very important, which is at the human rights level. Just because people, of course, there are different crimes. You can say things that are against the law, and people can call you for questioning. But trying to link certain things, with the kind of people. If those people wanted to be violent, for me, I would say that they would not join political parties. Because if you I make my money from political parties, from politicians, but people that are violent will not likely join political parties. They will be, because you join political parties, you convince people for their agenda, that's what they should do. But the security should be above political parties, and leaders that are within parties and institutions, they are leaders as well, because tomorrow they're going to govern. If you don't build a relationship today, what will happen tomorrow?
The UDP is concerned. They issued a statement.
They
are concerned that the way the things are going, they have been targeted to be linked with the incidents. They first had to dissociate, or rather rebuild, the comments made by spokesman who said the guy's occupation is a security guard at Brikama Area Council. Brikama Area Council, of course, the Brikama Area Council came out to say they saw that as a malicious attempt to link them to this. The police came to say that, if I got them right, that the suspect, been identified, part of security or part of the demonstration. That he was there. That's what the police said. And then of course, the party believe that their people have been invited, like what we just discussed. They believe that they've been targeted, for persecution, by linking them or trying to link them with the incident. That's their belief.
Yeah.
But like we said, I mean, logically or understandably, yes, if somebody made irresponsible comments, we can say, and coincidentally, or coincidence or whatever, we don't know, something terrible happened or something happened, of course, it is only logical, it's only understandable that people might be interested to look. I mean, you said this only a few days later, this thing happened. So obviously people will say, well, perhaps we should question whether actually they are involved or not. So it's not bad inviting people to question.
If it is professional,
if it is professionally done, that's not bad at all to question anybody. Nobody is beyond the law to be questioned. What must be done, of course, is it has to be done professionally, to establish whether this actually, despite what he had said, they definitely took part or has any active role in what happened. And it's only professional police, whose objective is to establish the fact, who should be able to be done that. So what we can tell the police is they must avoid, and we must stress, avoid being guided or being pushed by political sentiments.
Sorry, Flex. You asked one question here, and I did hint at one point. Why we're hearing this from a government spokesperson, for instance. At one point, I wrote a paper on the fake news ecosystem in this country, and honestly, I have to say this: most of the fake news come from government. Because they feel like people are so backdated. They don't know what is happening.
No, communication is a problem.
Yeah, they don't know what is happening, or sometimes they. And one of the issues that I cited. So when this recent issue happened, I was not surprised because I have seen the trend with the spokesperson. The first was the issue of Omar Sadio. It was all over. But this was something that I've argued that it was, because these people were very distant in terms of the diaspora, their engagement. So sometimes some of those issues they were not in touch. And there was all this narrative that there were rebels and everybody serving in our institution. So you come back, you use the same narratives, and today we're talking about something else. You want to use
there have been several
narratives.
I can tell you one. There was one which was an article supposedly done by Pap Ali Nyang. It was said that the president is going to shoot him, Pap Ali Nyang. On the whole, Pap Ali Nyang never wrote that. And he said he laughed because he think the president was not serious because he never wrote anything. So that is not good. That's another aspect. I mean, there is the case of Ben Suare, for example. Ben Suare, who commented or made a serious allegation on Facebook and other things. But you see, strategically, if you had left that commentary there, people will digest it. Those who agree with him will agree. Those who doesn't, and he stopped that. And then they move on. But when you say the president is going to sue, you are creating headlines.
Yeah, because you're bringing it on the agenda.
You are creating
what is
headlines.
Not on the public agenda. You are bringing it.
You are bringing it on public agenda. So I think the government should be very strategic in what they say about things. If you leave somebody's opinion there, it remains an opinion. People who agree with him, fine. Who doesn't agree,
let the people that are responsible do the job.
But when you say the president is going to take
something else,
a legal action, you are creating headlines. Because obviously, where a president is contemplating the shoe, you are creating headlines.
Everybody wants to know.
So those are not helpful.
I'm glad that you come up with so many.
No, there are a lot of examples that. So we have tabulated this. We said this over and over. And of course, the tone of communications that come from the presidency. Yeah. We said that in civilized world, when you represent the president, you're talking about the presidency. Your language should be the most civil language, ever, because even if the president is provoked, he should not be the person who will come and say, I'm going to deal with this malicious, facetious, whatever cliche you can have. The president doesn't talk like that.
No.
The president communicates very, very clearly, understandable civil language, very seriously. That's how presidents communicate. But we have seen that that definitely, unfortunately, is
no. Sometimes I feel Flex. We are me and me. This
no,
was,
no.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like we don't care about the people. But for me, sometimes this is how I see it. Like these are people. Me in our civil society work, in the work that I do, I feel that education and people knowing will help address so many other issues. Yeah. Therefore, if you talk to people, how you talk to them, even if you disagree with people, there are ways that you can communicate.
Yeah,
you want to criticize them, you criticize. For me, I criticize, and at the end of the day, I go and I work with people. Because I'm a citizen. That's the first point that is more important for me, and people can criticize me as well. And that is what but how do we?
Of every Democrat.
Yes, but you have to build tolerance. We have to build resilience. We have to build all these different elements that are very critical.
Criticism.
Yes.
Especially when they are genuine and they are logical. You accept it.
But leadership in this country, that's what everybody keeps saying, that is like motorbike pan. You push them, they move, and then they forget. And next minute they do not, I mean, even value, even your opinion. And those are the problems that this country need to address as well.
So the police finally did the right thing. They took care of all communications. Now, henceforth, the police are now going to be in charge of all communications.
We don't want to hear from the government spokesperson.
No, I don't think that will happen.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that will not happen.
Let it be given to the police, let it be given to the Office of National Security. These are the people that are responsible. These are the people that the people trust. These are the people that should be responsible.
If you look at it, okay, all right. The spokesman might also have been talking about information passed to him from in this case, investigators. That's the only way he could get it from. But if you look at what even the police are saying yesterday, they have been very reluctant to even give, even the slightest, information.
Yes, because they know their job.
So definitely that is the trend that should stay.
Of course.
In fact, to say something through the government spokesman in this case is misplaced, because it should have been the police PRO or somebody from the security who should have gone and come out with this information, so that the government is completely, out of it, and it's handled by the professionals who are in fact the people who are the targets in this. So it should come only from the police, and no minister, except perhaps the interior minister, and no government spokesman.
Even could stand behind and say, well, this is the government. Of course, you can do that.
You can do that. It's the government. Like interior ministry, you can handle that.
But on the civilian part, he was talking about security sector. But on the civilian part, the police can do that. But there is also Office of National Security. That is also coming. So that the idea of the Office of National Security is to coordinate the civilian aspect, things that the civilians can understand. In terms of the various security.
Like Jen was doing.
But also to coordinate the institutions.
Exactly.
And that's why you see that they are there, appreciate the people and all that. That is the role, and that's one of the things when people say the security sector is not moving. I said those are some of the things that you are putting in place. So when you have these institutions, when you have that, the government spokesperson can stay there and then start talking about policies
in most cases,
more broadly and all that different stuff.
Like you said, in most cases, people will consider government spokesman or minister of information as spin doctor. All right, they will say they are just spinning. So they will say part of the political class. They will say you are politicizing.
And this government has two of them: one spokesperson, one minister.
So you see, so people will consider them as spins. People are just want to spin. So in this case, you don't bring them. You don't bring them into the focus. Just take the professional police and security experts to lead the information. Then everybody has a belief that this thing has integrity. So nobody will suspect anybody politicizing. So I think it was a mistake that that was not the case. And unfortunately, we hope now everything will have to now go through the police as we go through the bottom.
Maybe my last point in this, and is maybe for the government, that you see, when you're communicating with your people, know that these are people that put you there in the first place. What you're enjoying, what you are driving, whatever he is doing is the people that are there. These people can take it tomorrow. They can take it any day. They can remove you by not voting for you and all that stuff. And it is there. So and particularly with the government spokesperson, we are not in a haste to break news, especially news that we have already known. What we want to hear are the facts, the realities. And for me, I don't like this, romanticizing things. Whatever the hard issue is, let us discuss. People are, reasonable people. People will manage certain things.
Absolutely.
But to treat us as if we don't know anything, you can fake us, you can push things here, push things there, and confuse us.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not the Gambia. If you're thinking like this is the Gambia that people are living today, this is not the Gambia that people are living.
People
So
have the mind to
direct
analyze.
communication, talk to people, understand people, and then we move. Tomorrow everybody will go and do their job. We will all live here, but at least let us build a system, a society that is based on facts, that is based on truth, that is based on understanding, and that is the way for me.
Flex, your last take on this.
Yes, I want to first of all also to really commend the government, the president. I mean, he came out and he put out a bounty of $1 million dollars, which was actually, very, I think that was good. And also, if they've said they are trying to visit the family members. And which is also a very, very positive move, and I think they even supported
the $100,000 to Ansi Jao's recovery.
Perfect. So that's also very, very
Let them not stop there.
welcome.
That one full recovery. If they
Full
need to
recovery.
take her outside, let them take her.
That's
maybe,
how
they are assessing.
They are assessing.
Yeah, so let it
requires.
Let them do that. I mean,
go.
for me, even if like I'm supposed to eat 1 million for the next 5 years, let them use that 1 million for to
to help her.
Because we need to take care of ourselves. I mean, and people that are working for us, we need to take care of them. We need to take care of ourselves. This is the point.
So I really want to commend them in that action, and but I think we generally have a problem of communication in almost most ministries, which is a problem. And when you have, as a ministry, I don't know who is in their communication department. I know some of them are great guys. In fact, some of them, they usually regularly give me information, and I really, I have close relationship with some of them. But generally, these kind of things, you should have a plan. If it's daily, you are going to engage the press, your institution, you have a spokesperson. Prepare your statement. Come out, read out your statement, take some questions, give the press your statement. You go. Something new happens in one, tell them. If you have an update, you will tell them. Soon, you will give another a press conference. If something has changed in 1 or 2 days, you have another press conference. Prepare your statement again. Read out your statement, have 1 or 2 questions, or some questions, and then you give them your statement, and then off you go. I don't think that this is rocket science. I don't think this is rocket science for any ministry, any institution. You should be able to put together simple plans where you can deal with any emergency or any problem. Why does the police have a PRO unit? And they have officers there. So they cannot draft the statement and then give it to the IGP. IGP looks through the statement, corrects it, and then he signs it, and then he comes. If, for example, if it's very serious, this would have been the ideal time for the IGP to have, been the one to read out the statement.
Yeah, he unfortunately was out of the country.
Out of the country, you see. So perhaps, but you see where I'm coming from. These are the kind of things which, and this applies to every single institution. I don't know what the Ministry of Information is doing with regards to how the government, because there should be.
I know they appointed information officers. At many, all or many, most of them.
Are they giving them the information too? That's the question.
But these procedures, you are the head of that unit, you are just giving orders and instructing. All you have to do is, I want you to draft a statement. Let me have it in 2 hours time. They draft the statement, they give it to you, you look at it, you add your stuff, you sign it, you give it to your people, say, you direct either, I want you to read out the statement, or I will read out the statement. What's there? You answer questions. People come, they go.
So, henceforth, what are your takes on, what do you think the investigation is leading to now?
Yes, I don't want to preempt.
For example, we can't.
Yes.
But for example, they've given us the information that one, the suspect told them that he's a member of the Casamas rebel. That for me puts a whole new complexion into the whole thing. What's your take on that?
Indeed. If that is the case, then certainly we have a problem. I don't know. They will have to substantiate that.
And even that came through interviews and not from the direct deliveries of the
of the officials there.
You
It
see.
came through interaction from journalists.
You see.
Through the from the national security advisor. It didn't come from the DIG's main what I would call. I don't know whether it was the main statement or the security advisor who gave the main statement, but it came after interrogation by journalists.
You see? So these are the kind of things which should have come in their statement, and they should really make it, because of people will be worried whether are we already, we have porous borders. Everybody knows that. People go in and out. So obviously that's going to start, people are going to start looking at those things a lot closer, But I think it's a worrying sign that we are also not safe, because of it's not the first time people have been shot and killed. Even the drones attacks that have killed, was it
4 people?
Yeah, 4 people at the border drone attack from Senegal. So these are all things which highlight that, and these are deaths, although they are not police officers, they are human beings, loss of life. So it's a very worrying sign with regards to the security situation. And I know my brother here, this means he has a lot more work to do when it comes to
the
security.
police want us to believe that they have the prime right suspect.
But then they also have others.
They said that
six people.
Yeah, maybe because
6.
of this one, confessed according to them, and maybe that's why he's the prime, but they have others. So for me, I think that's why I said, let's just allow the police to do their work. And then, like Flex said, let them keep updating the public. And then for me, there's nothing to anticipate. It can go anyway. So
You feel it's too soon for commentators to begin to doubt, narrations by the police, because you saw a lot online. What do you make of that? You have a lot of analysis who wanted to.
No, I don't doubt the police, their narration, as of yet. I can have some reservations with the government spokesperson's
No, let's forget about him
statement.
now. Let's focus on the police now. Yeah, let's forget about him.
So I really think that that's where we should base most of our reportage, and I think that they are going to do a better job, and I really, since they are giving us some information, they've told us that 6 people are being interrogated, and then they have already got one person who has made some confessions already. So I'm sure they will have information on them. The only thing I'm talking with police is they need to be in control of the narrative. So they will have information, and they can be deciding how they can be declassifying it, as long as they know that that information will not be used against them, for example, in their investigation, or even if the thing goes to court too. Because this thing, also police have to be very, very, reserved. It's not like they can just be updating every single day.
They made that point yesterday.
Yeah, because of this thing, looks like it will definitely go to court. I cannot see this not going to court.
Obviously, yes, one way or the other. They've gone too far now.
Yes, this thing has to go to court because loss of life.
That's the essence of the police.
Yes.
They are, when they prevent crimes,
yes,
and where they cannot prevent when it happens, they follow. They
yes,
follow the leads, they follow the investigation and all that. I am not trained into that. They are trained.
Thank you.
I trust that they can do the job. Let us allow them to do the job when we have the information as stated by all political parties I had to share with the police. And at that end, we are protecting ourselves in that endeavor. And that should be the idea. What's the idea of collective security? Internally, this is what we should be practicing. But for me, I think, there needs to be that engagement, constant communication. And I'm also seeing that they're communicating, even on the other issues, they're communicating. But we are coming from 2 decades of Jame, things we are done differently, and now we are getting them updating us. These are small things, small wins. That people in the long run will recognize that there are a lot of changes that are happening here, but of course there are a lot of gaps where we need to intervene and then support in that process. So for me, this also speaks to the entire question around security sector, and I think that's where also we need to continue to have the conversation. But most importantly, the police are not there for themselves. The police are working for us. And all of them, they want to nekal si naaj bi nga nekal ko si kër. And that's how we population need to also be be part of that process. Understanding that these are from kids, Look at the funeral yesterday. It's from a family. It's from a home. And so these are things that we also need to think about. And then, I mean, you know, in that way, love each other more. Certain things like this should make Gambians to be, we get angry, vexed, and say it will never happen again. And we start from our homes. How we train ourselves, how we train our kids, how we train everybody else. In the schools, everywhere. You know, you start building this. Society must be built. It's not like everybody fighting each other, but we must build society.
Absolutely.
You know, it cannot just happen. Wake up and then I was born, and today I am this. Tomorrow I'm gonna get older. Society is like that. Countries are like that. They grow. If you don't invest in it, if you don't invest in the people, if you don't invest in the young people, because today 70% of this population are young people. All this security, most of this security is young people. The two people that died, these are young people.
Very young.
Very young people. And likely the one that committed the crime might be young people also. So we have a question also in terms of addressing the needs and the concerns of young people. So I think these are things that also go. I mean, I'm using this also to advocate so that we can think more broadly and in the future, so that as a country, you know, we'll be safer and safer.
I just want to add that the NHRC released a statement, of course,
Human Rights Commission.
Yes, Human Rights Commission, and even the civil society, Tango. So it's not an issue which is just concerning to, and the National Assembly released a resounding statement, and they even had a matter of the day that the majority leader raised. So the whole society is behind the police and mourning together with them during this loss, definitely.
Absolutely. So our condolences to the police and the families of the fallen police, and our prayers for speedy recovery to police PC woman, WPC, Ansi Jao, who is recovering some. So that's much we can say about this topic. Remember, of course, we have to be careful with what we can say and what we can comment on in public media. We hope the police will continue to do due diligence to the case and investigate it so that we know exactly who committed this barbaric act against the state of the Gambia. We'll turn to the National Assembly because over the last few days the committees have been reporting to the plenary sessions, and one committee was active, was the committee that looks at government finance management, acronymed FPAC. They've been doing due diligence to the Auditor General's report on many government agencies and how government money, particularly during the period of the COVID, was spent. Among the things they did was to come out with a resolution that was very clear on the way to go about in recovering what they believe were money that were not properly managed. The National Disaster Management Agency, for example, have been asked to cover $100 million, and the GPU, and the grant committee of the GPU, or the grant committee that disbursed the money that was given to the Gambian media houses, some of them that is, have also been asked to cover $500,000 of money they believe has not been spent, or there have not been a statement saying what had happened. These, among other things, were in the resolution, and they were very firm. They said they have only 10 days to go, otherwise they will face prosecution and investigation by the Inspector General of Police. Flex Dan, you covered every twist and turn in the National Assembly. This sounds unprecedented and a very serious tone from the Parliament. So tell us, how do we come to this?
Well, this is part 2 of COVID, phase 2 of the COVID audit report, which has been debated for some time now. And they have written, that is the FPAC, have written their report. In this report also is one consolidated report together with the 2019, which has also been making the news. Probably we can't deal with all of them in one session. So in this COVID findings, the government found that a lot of money has been wasted throughout this COVID. You have been reporting it on Standard. Coupons, undelivered food, $100 million is worth of undelivered food by NDMA. Also $37 million worth of oil that was supposed to have been delivered by a company, never did. Ministry of Health, millions as well. Let us get the table and so that we can give you the actual figures. Ministry of Health, 1.65 million missing payment vouchers. Also for the Ministry of Health, 1.165 million overpayment of frontline workers. If you can remember, when the Minister of Health came to Parliament and said that there are ghost names inside this allocation, this frontline payments.
Exactly.
You remember what he was talking about. Now we can connect the dots. 4 Gambian embassies.
Yes.
4 Gambian embassies: Beijing, Abu Dhabi. I don't want to say the wrong names, but I know those 2 are there. They are having $1.38 million, and this money should have gone to students.
Yes.
So poor students that have been protesting. If you remember that time, there was even once, I remember, I hand-delivered a petition from Abu Dhabi students, and I made a video outside the Ministry of Foreign Affairs about it. These people were protesting. They needed support, not knowing that this is what was happening.
So 1 million?
$1.38 million.
They were supposed to disburse this to Gambian students
that are abroad.
In these 4 embassies?
Yes, in these 4 embassies. Now those students, they never got that money. And this is what is happening. So they said apparently that they used it in operations. And you know these embassies cost a lot of money. So let's continue.
But they have budget for operations.
They have budget for operations. Thank you. This is why there was a big debate in Parliament whether should we recover it from operations, what should we do?
So that's the strategy. If they spend what they don't spend,
I mean, who do you think, in your experience, who do you think will be responsible for this? Because if you say embassy, you talk about the whole entity that comes back to the Gambia government.
Yes.
When it's actually officials who might have mismanaged or whatever, allegedly this sum.
For me, if I am Parliament, the Minister of Finance is their direct boss. He is the one who must come back and respond. But his people, the head of the missions, for each of these missions, should be the ones to explain. You understand? But because the minister is the one who can come to Parliament, those head of missions, they cannot come and stand in Parliament. They can only go to committees and discuss there. So for me, it's the minister who bears ultimate responsibility. Not that he is the one who should be fined. I'm not saying that. But we know the head of missions. They are the ones who I know, who I believe should, get to the bottom of it and address this. Tell us where the 1.38 million went, why it went there, and how they are going to try to recover it. And they have 10 days apparently.
Yeah, so I got it.
So GT board is also there, 202,000.
What was that supposed to be?
That was monies that they received, difference between the monies they received and the payments to individuals in the informal sector.
Oh yes, I remember hotel workers.
Yeah, so that means that
there was also a problem for many people not getting.
Yeah, so that means that some people either did not get their money or they overstated the amount that they were supposed to give, and then they kept 202,000. So there's a difference. The money that was given to them and what they ended up paying out, there's a difference of 202,000.
So they check the payment list and all that.
Yes.
The payments and other things.
And then the last one, which brings us to home, close to home,
yes,
is the GMC, the Grant Management Committee, which is actually...
Can you explain that? I mean,
the Gambia Press Union.
I saw the Gambia Press Union defending or trying to explain their side of it.
Yes, we've seen explanations coming out from
what
some
exactly
of our
happened
colleagues.
in this case?
So in this instance, what happened is that the Ministry of Information...
Before it was split.
Yes, before it was split, exactly. Then under the leadership of our very own veteran D.A. Jawo, was the one who was in charge of this fund. But they created a body.
Was it not Ibrahim Ashilla's time?
Is it Ibrahim Ashilla?
When the COVID
was. DA left way before.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, it was Ibrahim Ashilla. Yeah. But D.A. Jawo was the chair. Was the chair of the grant? Okay, yes. So that's where I got it wrong. Sorry. Thank you very much for that correction. Good. You are spot on. Yes. So actually, Ibrahim Asila was the minister then. But D.A. Jawo was the chair of the Grant Management Committee. Fine. This is it's very good that we clarify this so people know that. So, but then this was mostly government body, if you could say. With I understand they had one GPU representative in there. And so they distributed, was it 15 million?
15 million it was.
Yes. And that 15 million, they distributed it to media houses. But if you read it, the audit actually praises the GPU for the largely, most of it is like they complied.
They complied.
Yes. This is what the audit report is saying. And it actually praises GPU and the GMC, the Grant Management Committee, for their performance.
For complying with
for
most
complying,
for
most. So if you have to look at these things in the bigger picture, 15 million, but 585,000, 100,000 out of that 15 million is not very clear.
14 point something million have been accounted for.
Exactly.
But
14.5, but the over 500
have not been accounted.
Yeah. So
and now who bears the responsibility to bring this in 10 days?
Well, if you have
GPU or the Grant Committee or Media House.
So according to the resolution, if we are going to the resolution,
that's what we want.
The resolution is saying, which is coming from Parliament.
Yeah.
The resolution is holding Grant Management Committee and GPU responsible. Yes, and the Grant Management Committee was under the purview of the Ministry of Information.
I see.
But that also incorporates GPU in there. So GPU does have some hand in it.
Whose account did the money went to?
This is the very important question, and that's what I have been actually trying to get to the bottom of, talking to some of my colleagues at the ground. From the information that I received, apparently the Grant Management Committee instructed GPU to open the account for the money to be sent into. So now this is where I was talking to somebody. So is that a GPU? If it is a GPU account,
then Parliament is right.
Then Parliament is
right in involving.
So this is the issue.
They follow this thing.
This is what they follow. They follow the paper trail.
Yes,
So if that account that the money went into was seen as it was recognized as a GPU account, but I understand that the signatories are mostly the government. From the Grant Management Committee. To that account. Because even if they are going to say, even if it is a GPU account, it is the signatories also who they will have to come to. And those signatories.
You want to tell me that the account is GPU?
I have information as to who the signatories are. I cannot disclose, but I know that only one GPU member was a signatory to it. And according to, if the information I get is clear, the gentleman never actually signed off any money. So then the monies was being signed off by individuals from the Ministry of Information.
But then this money's got to the people that they were supposed to.
Yes, they got to them. So now that's the very important issue. They got to them. I really don't see much wrong done by the Grant Management Committee, if I am to give my personal opinion. But because of the audit report, from what the audit report is saying, 7 radio stations, of which we can even disclose their names.
Go ahead.
Here. These are my colleagues, by the way. Don't put me in trouble.
It's not coming from you. It's coming from Parliament.
So, if you read the audit report, the radio stations, they are all community radio stations. Brikama Bar community radio station. Brikama community radio station. That's 2. Farafenni community radio station. Bansang community radio station. Biam community radio station. North Bank community radio station, and Soma community radio station. They are responsible for some monies.
Out of these 500 something.
Yes, out of that 500 something.
There are unaccounted payments made to them.
Yes, payments that is being paid to them. Yes.
So is it a question of them not giving receipts to the Grant Committee?
From the audit report, which we are making reference to, there is a mixture of they have not tendered receipts to some of these monies that they have spent, and they have spent some of the monies on items that they shouldn't have spent on. Yes, so I know one of them is a generator that has been spent by one institution on that. So whether those are things that were within the policy of expenditure too is another thing, because the Grant Management Committee came out with a policy as to how these monies should be spent by the media houses.
It was really good.
Yes.
Seth, what's your take on this?
Well, for me, I think, I mean, Parliament has been doing well, especially the FPAC, and I don't think this is the first time. They've been releasing a lot of resolutions. But resolutions are things that should be implemented, and I'm looking forward to seeing this being implemented. But in terms of the COVID, I mean, I think in 2021, with Afrobarometer, I think we were one of the lucky countries that included COVID questions in terms of the survey. So I want to share two maybe indicators. One is government assistance and performance in terms of the COVID fund. So, and for me now, I am connecting with what Felix is saying. I'm connecting to say that maybe perhaps this is the reason why people were saying some of the things that they were saying at the time. So for instance, we asked them whether since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, have you or your household received any assistance from government, like food, cash payments, relief from bill payments, or other assistance that you were not normally receiving before the pandemic? And out of that, we had 79%, almost 80%, that said that they have received government assistance. Even myself, I receive government assistance.
What?
No. I mean,
you need that.
I did not take it but my neighbor was there, so okay. But then the thing is, when they came, I said, I mean, perhaps you can go to some, because I can still afford that. But they say, well, it's for everybody. But now, I mean, with 100 million of food going waste, now you can see why 20% of the population did not receive government assistance. And then, you only have 1% that says they don't know whether they receive government assistance. So imagine all these different monies reaching, perhaps we will have covered the entire country. But then look at in terms of receiving government assistance, also we had about 97% of those in rural communities receiving government assistance. So it shows that, of course, to a large extent, but in the urban area we only had 66%, and then you have more men, 81% compared to 78% receiving. But in terms of fairness of government assistance, this is where also the issue is. People receive, they said they've received, but 41% or 53% say it wasn't somewhat unfair or very unfair. 12 say it was somewhat unfair, and then 41% say it was very unfair. So you can see that more than 50% of the population say it wasn't fair. And now, I mean, this is where what Flex was talking about, and with this audit report also, we can say that to a large extent it wasn't fair, in the sense that when students that have left their own countries, that are studying, we've all lived outside. We know how difficult it is, especially at a point of pandemic where we were not surviving here. People that are not working there, maybe on scholarship, how were they surviving at that point? But you see government taking money, investing in that, and this is not reaching the students. So this is also some sort of an unfairness, and this is the issue of corruption. And I hope that the police and the National Assembly will be able to get to the bottom of this, so that people that deserve that money should still be returned to that. For me, when they collect this money, let them send it back to the students. Because
well, they said the money should be go to treasury. Maybe they want.
No, but I mean,
they will determine.
They can decide that. But this is also showing generally, some of these issues. Especially look at the food. We're talking about distributing food, and they're talking about 100 million.
100 million. That's a lot of
like
food.
100 million.
100 million. Can you imagine?
National disaster money.
Like, where are you gonna hide that amount of food even? Why is it that people are not getting that food?
What happened?
And I see sometimes, like, when you are given some responsibility to share for everybody to benefit, don't be too greedy to take things for yourself.
Or give it
it's
to
for
your
the
party
or it's for everybody else. Yeah. So for me, I think these are things that we need, and I'm very happy that the National Assembly is taking this seriously, and they have to take it seriously, because at the end of the day, they need to protect the resources of this country. We cannot spend money and then people just use it anyhow they want. Why would that happen?
Indeed. Yeah. I just have to highlight the 11 villages. This is from the audit report. In CRR, they did not receive. Namely, Ngan. Ngai. Taiba 1. Tuba Pakala. Kir Tamsir. Jama Tukulur. Kir Waka. Mambara Falaka. I know I'm not pronouncing some of this properly. Kir Lai. Kir Isab. Bantanto,
I know.
Alaji Demba, and Mahmoud Fana.
Mahmoud Fana, a well-known place, I know.
Yeah, so they did not benefit from the relief package, you see, which is very unfortunate.
And they were
yes, they did not register them.
Oh.
Yes, they said that they were not registered and therefore did not benefit from the relief package. And I cannot understand.
And there might be many other more, because one time I had on radio, some people didn't get anything. I mean, like they were complaining, they tell them to move here, they move there, they do this, but at some point, nothing. So when it comes to these issues, like tracking issues are very important.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm happy also that the National Audit Office is doing all this, because at the end of the day, public resources, public money is public money. I mean, so yeah.
So finally on this topic, Flex, do you see the Inspector General of Police been asked to take action? 10 days seem to be so short.
Yes, well, actually, I'll explain.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, so they have 10 days for these ones which we mentioned, for them to bring back the monies or account for it.
Okay.
So if they cannot account for it, and they cannot, obviously, you cannot say you spend it into this.
The police have to investigate.
Yes, if you say that, then police will deal with you. Then that's not accounted for it. But at least if they can bring back the money.
No police case.
Yes, then there is no police case. If they don't bring back the money and they cannot account for it, police will check you out.
According to the policy, how is
resolution?
Yes, according to the resolution, and that is that is 25th of this month. Yes, so 25th of this month, police will start making investigation. You will have 90 days to report to Parliament.
I see.
Yes, to report to Parliament. And the investigation, if you read most of the resolution, it says open up an investigation to prosecute.
Wow.
So it's not just open up an investigation
and then go, but then if they fail,
then
to prosecute.
Maybe if I meet Jawa, I'll tell him out. And maybe Ibrahim Silla said, hey, you after the money.
Where's the money?
Well, there you go. Finally, should they go to Faraba campus or should they stay at Kanifing? That's the University of the Gambia crisis. Over the last week, of course, the university, the Ministry of Education, Higher Education, that is, the university authorities, have been at loggerheads with students and some staff of the university as to whether they should go to the new campus, Faraba. The staff and students argue that basic facilities are not in place to make learning conducive in Faraba. Authorities, however, said, no, this project cannot go. It's the longest project, 12 years running. There has to be a conclusion to it. And they have been paying facilities for university to operate. In some cases, they even operate on trees. And they said now the lectures must be transferred to Faraba. They said there will be transportation. They have made agreements with the Public Transport Corporation. Water, the contractor is working on the provision of water. There's electricity already and internet and stuff like that. But the loggerhead still continued because just 2 hours ago, I think the students were at a press conference. We will bring you details of that. But then, very quickly, gentlemen, should they go there or?
I mean, that's their campus. I mean, we have to go there. But for me, I mean, everybody want to go to that campus. I mean, I went there.
You're supposed to be a lecturer.
But now I am. I'm trying to.
Now he's a consultant.
Yeah, but
no, I'm not a consultant. I'm bridging theory and practice.
But what do you
now.
make of this?
Well, I mean, I think for me, I mean, of course, the length of the project should not matter, at least if it is almost complete and people have seen the structure. I've been there, I've seen the structure. It's going to be, students will going to enjoy it. But I think you cannot take thousands of students to a place where there is no water. It's not even healthy. It doesn't make sense because Faraba is also very far. And then you're talking about electricity. If these facilities are there, if water is there, electricity is there, then I say, well, what other excuse would the students and the staff have? They will have to go. But how can you take people to a place where there is no water and electricity? We're saying is in the process when it is gonna end. I think the ministry need to give time to ensure that those things are in place. the building they're gonna score a point because it's beautiful, and we've been looking forward to come for Faraba. And I think when the university moves there, it's going to change the whole landscape in terms of the development, because students are going to be there, and all those things are going to be very important.
Dormitory, they all agree that it's not ready.
Yeah. So, but even the dormitory, what the ministry, I once heard him say, what their preferred option is to get into private partnership, and this is a good opportunity for private investors to start looking at how they can build dormitories for students, because students they're not rich, but also they can give you good business, and so they need to start thinking about that.
The students, sure, there's no basic amenity, stuff like that, but the government is saying they believe that some lecturers or students are reluctant because they may have been involved in some other activity in the Kanifing Banjul area, and they know if they move there, they have to do away with those. So they said that they probably
if they have
ulterior motives.
If they have water, if there is water in campus, they say check. If they have electricity, let everybody complain what they want to do. Let the university move, because then there will be no excuse. You see, sometimes this ulterior motive, but if they have the water, if they have that thing, people will find their way. If they don't want, they can defer until they're able to go. We were here in Kanifing. I mean, we were not happy when they said they were going to move us to Birkama. Me, I live in New Jersey. I was not paying fare, but at some point we have to pay fare, because there were people that were living in Birkama that were paying fare to come. So it was their turn now to enjoy. So I go to Birkama? I went to Birkama.
But now, now, aren't there some lecturers who are doing other jobs? And probably they are reluctant to go to Faraba because they will have to give up those jobs.
UTG.
It's not the reason they're
UTG. There is it's not like high school or any other school where you do at 10 o'clock you do this course, tomorrow o'clock you do that. It's also designed in a way that individuals can pick their own courses and do their own learning in a way that they can do that. So even lecturers, when I used to teach maybe 2 days, and I used to teach like 4 courses. So 2 days, each day I teach 2 courses, and I spend the whole period on campus. If I go, sometimes I used to escape from classes, so that was the issue. So people can also pick in terms of when they want to have their courses. So there's that flexibility that could be found there as well. But even if they're engaged in other things, you teach as a master's holder, you teach about 4 courses in the week. Like 1 course per, it could be, if you want you can teach 4 days, if you want you can teach 2 days, if you want you can teach 3 days. I mean, there are those things that are there. So people can manage that to do other jobs. I mean, they can manage that to do other jobs. And I think that wouldn't be. For me, I think the only reason stopping this, and I think it is also fair, I don't want to see people go there, you have thousands of students, toilet is not ready, there's no electricity. How are you going to communicate? How are you going to do your work? How are you going to do all those things? That is more reasonable for me than saying people have ulterior motive or not. When these facilities are available, whether they like it or not, everybody will move. If you don't want your education, you can stay. It's your choice. But the institution must move, and that's what is built. We spend millions to build that, that institution, so people have to move. But they cannot move into an incomplete building. If it was my personal house, I don't mind, but it's a public property. Otherwise, before we know, the toilet will start going this way, everything will start going that way. Doesn't make sense.
That's a problem.
So let them be careful. Let it be even January, so that they can put all those things that the students continue for this semester. And I think the students were complaining. I was even engaging the president. They were complaining of even the delayed start of the program, because some of them also have plans.
The government's argument has been that there has to be an end to this.
Let it be finished. You cannot an end most like the project is finished, and then they hand them over the key. There is water, there is toilet, there is everything else. That's the finished project.
The students
say it's the ending.
The project, even if the people
they took some journalists there for them to verify whether this facility is in place, and they wouldn't give them access. The authorities the government said let the place not be accessible to them. I mean, the permanent secretary said the students did that without consulting them.
Even is that, when I went there, we were doing research on India, because we are interested in China, India, and we are doing research in Indians and how they do constructions or their role within society. For me, that's the kind of work I do. So we went there and I saw the structure. But I think one of the things that I also noticed along that line is that they use like these switches that we use. they tend to bring in their own switches so that we can keep replicating. For the UTG, I hope that is not there, because otherwise it will keep costing more money. Let them use what is there so that people can use those kind of systems. But in terms of access and all that, I mean, the campus is for university students. If university students want to see that, I mean, there is not this push and pull, whether it shouldn't be there. But then the ministry, I mean, Prof. Gomez, I know him. I mean, he wants to do things, he's hardworking, he has good intention. But for this one, I mean, I wouldn't advise that they move, because the damages might be even worse than what is currently there. Let them be careful. This is a beautiful building. I mean, this is a beautiful structure, this is good, and the students will enjoy it. But let them take their time, finish it, let it be ready, well painted, people know where they should go, you know, what should happen, and then they move. Movement is just not up, you know, like a wake up and at them sayon. It has to be planned. It has to be prepared. People need to know where to go, where the administration.
They've been planning for the last 12 years.
Yes, you see the
problem.
problem.
No, they've not been planning for the last 3 years to move. They've been building. You know, they've been building, but planning for this is very recent, because even before we said it was going to be earlier, but now they said again it's going to be this now. Let them move it to January so that they can have water, electricity, and all those necessary facilities, and then students move and simple as that.
Correct. I mean,
most of the time.
Don't forget, he has a vested interest in this.
Of course.
No, me, I'm no longer. I'm not a UTG now.
Once a UTG lecturer, always a lecturer.
But
so
this one
he's
is the
advocating
decision
for his students.
Okay.
But with all fairness, before you move into any house, a building, there are two things: water and electricity. When you have them, the other things can come even. But this is a learning institution. You understand? I want to highlight that even if they're moving, that doesn't mean that the project has been completed. You know, you move in and you are still working on the project. Doesn't mean that the project has completed. That means that they are still working on the project.
Yeah.
So I think that was also like a facade, you know, to make it look like once they move in, then the project has come to conclude. That's not true.
Your own house, you can do that.
Exactly.
But public property.
Thank you. Public property.
I would not advise that. Yeah.
So I really, for the project, because of when I know Professor has worked a lot.
So you think he want to rush this?
I'm not sure whether he has been receiving the right advice or whether he is working with the right advice, because I traveled to Egypt, and when I traveled, I met Prof there, and they just won a grant.
The minister.
Yes, the minister.
When you said they won a grant, the ministry, the government won a grant.
Government had won a grant and some loan.
To do
for Faraba. I was the one who broke the news about the millions.
Egypt.
Yes, that was in Egypt. ISDB, Islamic Development Bank.
Been the ones, yeah.
Yes. So when I went there, I even got that information and I broke that news.
That was how much money?
That was millions, around 21 or something.
And how recent was it?
That was as recent as 2
years ago. Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, I remember that.
No, it wasn't too long ago. So if you see, from that time to now, it's not that long. Yeah. So I think that, and why I'm saying this, I want to highlight the amount of work that I've seen him do.
He was my
because
boss.
As soon as he came in, to be very fair, this thing accelerated. The UTG campus Faraba construction.
If you work with Professor Gomez, you know Professor Gomez. He doesn't sleep. He works like.
That was when this thing started to move there.
Commendable.
Yes, so he has really, and this thing was stagnating. It was not moving. But when he came in and he really pushed this thing, and got the finances, got them to start being able to do the work and all of that.
Maybe he's over enthusiastic to get this.
Yeah, well, you know, that's why I say it's coming from good intention. You know, Prof, me, like, he was my lecturer, the senior colleague. He became my boss as the dean. I mean, I only know him for one thing: work. If you go to university, he will be the first in, he will be the last out. That's what everybody know him for, and that's the commitment. And whatever he wants to move, he put his heart and motion and everything inside that. And for me, this campus is the same as he's explaining. He wants to see it happen, because at the end of the day, it's for the benefit of the student. But for me now, I think, pressuring students to go at this stage when where they're claiming that these facilities are not there, you need to think about that. Yes. You need to think about the cost. You need to think about that and take time. I mean, I'm saying this here. Let them take this semester here, and in January, by then they will be ready, and then they move. Prof will be happy, students will be happy, everybody will be happy, the country will be happy, and then
Is it possible that I can squeeze in this anti-corruption?
Yes, that's right.
That's a very big news.
Yes.
Just on Thursday, Parliament had the consideration stage of the much anticipated anti-corruption bill. Since 2019, this bill, December, it has been tabled. Same time with the access to information bill, which came in effect in 2021 very quickly. So, but the anti-corruption bill is still in Parliament, and they've done the consideration stage, which is clause by clause. But the problem, there are a series of issues that have been arisen from this. And the biggest one is that before the Commission will take a prosecution step, they will have to seek consent from the Ministry of Justice. So, which means...
How independent will they be then?
This is the question which some of us are raising. Although the Constitution, Section 85, does give the ministry some power to intervene and to, you know, get involved in all these things. Me and Sait have been debating about this aspect.
Incremental or...
Yes, I believe that this is going to be a toothless bulldog.
Commission has to get permission from the minister who to prosecute.
My argument is, if this is the case, let us just open up a small office under the Ministry of Justice. Instead of opening up a whole commission,
Flex,
Sait has a different argument.
So what did the parliamentarians have to say about it?
Well, they were actually FPAC chair recommended for this clause to be amended so that it will be may consult, and instead of shall,
which has to be,
seek consent, which is what stayed in there. You see, so but unfortunately, with a combination of the Minister of Justice and the chair of the Committee of the All, which was Sidi Njai, they managed to keep it as it is.
What's going to happen? Is it going to be passed now like that?
Yeah, it seems like this is what is going to pass, except something happens.
Except they reject it.
No, they don't have to reject it. There's still another stage.
Wait,
Standing Order 74 in the Constitution allows for reconsideration.
So is there any possibility that
Yes, they can. If any member can...
Are the National Assembly members well educated on this clause?
Every member can look at Standing Order 74. Standing Order 74 is on reconsideration, and which allows a member to table a motion to amend any part of the bill of the Constitution.
Did you see any? Did you foresee anything like that happen?
I am hoping, I am hopeful that they will do the needful of at least taking a step back and avoiding us having a toothless bulldog. I think that this commission, if it goes in the state which it is, it will need further work for it to get to the position where we really want it.
It won't be effective if the commissioners have to ask the Attorney General whether to prosecute Flex Olawenjam. What about if the minister is related to the person?
This is exactly the same question Honorable Suleiman Saho raised. Honorable Suleiman Saho of Central Badibu. He raised this question.
He's been making controversial comments.
Yes.
I was going to add the FGM thing, but
next time. We don't have time. Can I add one point with what Flex is saying? I mean, I think for me, I think generally I agree with his point, but anti-corruption is not only about prosecution too. You know, it has other aspects. That's why I say it's not going to be a toothless bulldog, because there is the education part, there is a learning, you know, where you do the preventive measures. For me, if I have ways, I will want to work on preventive measures, not people to commit crime rather than committing crime. So prosecution's role would be there for deterrence. And so now is about how do we go about the prosecution. And that's where the disagreement is. I say, let's go with this way. But in the long run, I think if they start implementing and then doing that and things are going on, this government would be forced at that point to say, okay, now we might need prosecution. And that's why I was arguing that maybe perhaps they're looking at the bill from an incremental process, that okay, let's do the framework, let's do this, and the current law is saying this, so let's work on that. But if a new constitution comes and then anti-corruption goes into that new constitution, the powers might be different. The prosecutorial aspect might be different. So for me, that's why I say it's not I mean, let's get the document, let's get the framework, let the commission comes, let them start doing their work, and in the process, we look at that. But still, I mean, the process is still there, but there are people being prosecuted. Yeah. So for me, I mean, at least there is that. But of course, what you say in terms of the personnel and all that, I think of course that needs to be considered. I mean,
my only worry is that $100 million worth of food missing. Yeah. This is the same program. This we need Africans. We need to set serious example.
Exactly.
On our people.
Well, I understand
before they take this thing seriously.
I understand perfectly that there will be misgivings in many minds when you say the commission have to take permission from the minister.
Yeah. For me,
you can exclude that the justice minister will not be brought even if he is involved in any one. The friends of the justice minister, even the justice minister has a boss. He will have to consult boss. Do I have to?
So, but then if it has to do with the justice minister and if he's engaged, well, but we don't do that in this country.
But even in the current state, the minister still has powers.
He has powers. He has powers to do things.
I mean, to recommend cases to be tried or not. So that's still there. But then, of course, this is supposed to be a commission that we pay for. That should be independent.
Yes.
So
they should have their own legal unit.
Yeah, that's right.
Let them prosecute.
So
they build that.
This one, I can understand the misgivings in there. Thank you very much, Yusuf Tello, Flex Dan, our expert from the National Assembly. Sait Matty, thank you very much for all of you who've been watching us. At the beginning of the program, it was so hot that some people think I'm being involved too much. But I think I did that in the last part.
But I mean, it's a national thing, so everybody is a national. I mean, so sometimes we have to.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We will be back from, with issues from Parliament, because Flex will be back next week, and one of the topics will be the controversy surrounding FGF. Yes, we will not shy away from it. We will talk about it.
Oh yeah, everybody.
Next week. Bye for now.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.